Brian, will you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, roll call, please.
Keith Guidry,
Here.
Ronald Polley,
Here.
Roland Curall,
Here.
Mitch Dowell,
Here.
Brett DeRoche, Roland Guidry,
Here.
Brian Marks,
Here.
McNeely Wrong,
Here.
Monty Davis. Mr. President, we have one.
All right, thank you. Okay, gentlemen, you've been presented with a copy of last month's meeting. Anything, a motion? Moved by Mac, second by Mr. Ronald. All in favor? Aye. Approved. Okay, on the president's report, I don't have anything to report. Moving on, Mr. Ronald. do you have anything?
I've got the executive committee
Okay.
report. We're ready to go.
All right, anybody here to address the board from the audience? Who are you?
Joseph Bush,
Sorry, Mr. Representative, this my ignorance.
not a senator. Well, for 12 weeks I've been in legislative session and been seeing the agenda and following along on the progress y'all been making post item. And I said that as soon as I'm out of session, I'm going to try to make the first meeting, and that's why I'm here. Unfortunately, it looks like I might be going back to Baton Rouge on Wednesday for a special session. We're going to see how that plays out. I wanted to give a kind of a more legislative update on coastal events and things that would be specific to here, but A, I didn't have time with everything that's happening with the special session planning and work that needs to be done. I haven't had time to get that, and B, I would rather give y'all notice before I take up that block of time in y'all agenda. But other than that, I'm here. I'm supportive of everything y'all are doing as usual. I know, I got the accolades of having the levee system that survived one of the most crucial tests that we could have. And I know that in the process of that test, we lost a lot of marsh, and we're in a vulnerable position. So I think it's probably one of the biggest things is getting the levee system back up and running, or back up to snuff on the things that we can't do, and focusing on marsh creation projects and things like in the areas surrounding our levee system. The most important things, that and continued progress work on the elevated highway, things like that, with the ribbon cutting ceremony coming on. I know we got to do they all getting to do the T-wall and stuff like that, but put off, I think, for this season. But I'm very interested in seeing the progress. So,
What's the time frame on final construction of the elevated highway?
July of 2027. Finish. First car on August 1st of 2027. The first car is supposed to roll across it, or there'll be monetary penalties paid to the state at that point in time by James Construction.
Well, we appreciate you being here, Joe, and we look forward, we'd really like to hear that report.
Okay.
Just let us know.
Will do.
Okay, if anybody else, if not, let's move on to our general manager report.
Do a slide presentation. Slides are working today, which is good. Starting off with actually the last page of the Hurricane Center's report on Hurricane Ida. What they did is, this is the path that the storm took. And that path is the critical path for our system. Had it come closer to us, we would have probably had might have had a little more wind, but a lot less water. This is about the perfect place to throw the most amount of water on us. What they did, which we all encouraged them to do this thing, is they moved the path some 20 miles to the east. And what you see with this color differentiation is showing what would have been the change on the water elevations with this 20-mile change. right here, they're showing that the water would have been anywhere from 5 to 7 feet less. In fact, all of these colors indicate reduced water on our system, and had it passed this course, we would have had the eye over it, some of the eye and some of the time. But the counterclockwise rotation, we have seen one area, they show some increase, and that's north of Cloverly toward the intercoastal canal. They show an increase of about, I think, 1 to 3 feet. And that would not have been a problem to our levee, because the water got rolling up to about 4 to 5 feet in that area. So another 3 feet, our levees are right around 13 in that area. So basically, even with this change in alignment, but in their report, they said that we would have been over top. I called them back up. I said, wait, this doesn't match up with what I'm seeing. And I said, not only that, when I talked to Reggie about this alignment, they said the highest water they saw on this side was 6 feet in where section K was. Now, they did have a buildup as high as 9 feet, but even with that high buildup inside of their system where the floodgates was, we still would, at 9 foot elevation, would not have put water over the top of any rock levels. So the Hurricane Center said, no, well, we're probably not right in saying that. But they did show that the West Jefferson system, the history system, the federal government spent $14 billion on the east side and the west side. The west side, they are showing in this beige area slight overtopping of that system. Okay? And the colonel was asked about it, and what he said is that, yeah, we anticipated a little bit of overtopping, and that's why they have a tremendous amount of armoring. That's why it costs, $14 billion. They put a lot of, along with the base of the levee, they put a lot of bogey mats and stuff. But that was interesting that this change of alignment would have flooded the West Bank, right, according to the Hurricane Center.
Well, I know it's not our responsibility, but if we all have family and relatives and friends who live there, how would that have affected the Norfolk district?
Well, the change right here, it would have put 3 feet more water, those people that flooded on the north side, it would have put 3 feet higher water in that area, which means you have more of an area that would have flooded. And had it done this, that, according to the Hurricane Center.
Because I know I had flooding in my yard, which is on the west bank, with that hurricane. One section had flooded on the east bank, it also came across and flooded my office building and my warehouse.
Oh, yeah, well, according to this, the Hurricane Center would have said you'd have 3 feet more water with this line. But again, this was the fifth most intense storm to hit the United States of America. That's crazy on record. And we got the critical path, and like I said, I felt we were very fortunate that we didn't flood. It would not have been a shock or surprise. And then the biggest point we need to make is that people should have left, because we couldn't guarantee. One little thing happened, boat slid the top of the levee where there was just maybe a foot difference. We had waves that came over the top of the levee. Okay, just one little thing had to go wrong. We would have had 7 to 8 feet of water in people's houses. There was no doubt we would have lost hundreds of lives had that happened. And as it happened, again, we got to say about the fire department, can't say nothing about what they did. They were getting the calls when these houses were knocked out. And storm surge got in, those people would not have survived. But they got the calls, they went out, commandeered a bus, they commandeered an excavator. They used the excavator to open up the road so the bus could make it run. They let us go. We tried to get out in the weather 3 times, but we couldn't even walk our trucks. But once they called and said they had gotten out, well, we got in our trucks and the roads were open. And our guys did that. And again, talk about our guys and their guys. Almost every one of their guys, their houses had been destroyed by the storm. The roofs, the ceilings being taken off. And yet, they were going to help all these other people and kept on doing it, for the days. And we had a number of our guys also had water in the house. One of our guys lost his house completely, but didn't hesitate. The work didn't get interrupted, continued working. So, got to compliment all those people who do that. But that's what's really important about this is that even with the storm going to the other side, that was again, I called the Hurricane Center. This is the official report saying we would have flooded, and they pulled it back and said, no, you're probably right. You probably wouldn't have flooded with this different line. Now, it's a little bit difficult to look at it. This is slowly forms. This is delta forms. There's a little cloud cover in this little part of the satellite shell.
Howard dust.
Well, that's our, that's the Louisiana moisture there, okay? But really look at it, okay, here's Crawfish Pond, that's Crawfish Canal, all right? Bayou Pillow is another section of the film that they put it a little bit darker. But really pay attention, right here, Crawfish Canal, north side bottom, and here's the farm. And this is what happened the day after. Here's Crawfish, there's a canal. All of this marsh gone. All water, look at it, it's crazy. I mean, we lost 20 years of probably erosion at the rate it was going. We lost about 20 years in one night. I mean, it's really amazing how bad this is over here. And I mean, this area is by Peru over here. That used to be solid marsh, all this marsh, and now there's Delta formed, and now there's a big opening. Now the state, from what I understand, is going to try to build at least a line of protection here. It's fresh water. We would expect that it would revegetate pretty quickly because we have Davis Pond keeping it fresh, and a lot of, we have like about 100 species of grass can grow in fresh water. And as long as we keep the salt out, that ought to grow back pretty well and pretty quickly. That's really sad how bad it is. Okay, now we're trying to show how we looked just before the storm, and then how we looked with the storm, and how we look now. Okay, so we've been building levees different places. We're working at Section F, that's near the rules area. This is Clovely. We're actually in the process of building the levee, raising it on Clovely when the storm hit. We didn't get a chance to shape the backside. We had shaped the crown. We had shaped the unprotected side, and not shaped the backside. Again, just shot on the side. That's some work we were doing on the west side of the levee. Raised the levee. That's the work that's going on at the pump station, the Crawfish Pond at Marsh West. And we had to raise the outside, but we were fixing the inside, and that's only a 12-foot elevation. And because it was 12 feet, when the storm came, a lot of debris came in. Some water didn't flood, but they had enough, it brought debris and enough flood to bring in debris. Had we finished that in time, we would have had an 18-foot elevation, and that water would have come in at all, zero. And today, it's functional. Today, that wall is up there at 18 feet. So same storm, zero water comes through there.
Window right here in this picture, you're facing towards the east, and that road, the shells all the way to the bottom
We
left.
actually, we're looking to the east.
Okay.
You see the levee here?
Yeah.
That's the road comes here, and then you cross over here to get to where the
Tranquility.
parking area is next to the pole. But we had this up to, I think it's about 17, and this was going up to 18. And again, there's been zero water in that area we got the wall in place. Now, this is just a picture where we were putting in, we had rehabilitated the gates and putting them in the flood, the lock. But you look around the edges here, we had good high protection over here. And everything looked great going this direction. It's the east side, the east area. Again, this is the lock right here. Again, no area outside, everything looked really good. That's the marsh that was built by ConocoPhillips and Ducks Unlimited. It turned out really, really well. But this looked really before the storm, and it looked pretty much the same after. It survived it well with at least 10 to 12 feet of water going over the top. Again, it's that same area, beautiful marsh formation in the water. Again, this is and you know, we got the rose outside, but they didn't last after the storm hit. That's the area headed toward the rose from the bully camp there. And again, everything looking, this is some work we're doing, just the whole blueprint form is over here. And that's us, we're raising this from a 13-foot elevation to a 16-foot elevation. So we go to 18 all the way to the intersection of Falls Farm, and then we down to 16, and then it goes down to 13. And all those elevations work well. Okay, and this is what happened with Ida. That's the Delta Fork Road. You know, Delta Fork Road, you take it coming from the church, you make the turn, and then you get outside the system. And it parallels that section F levee. And that's the mud that ended up on both sides of the coast. But, you know, you got within about 8 feet in this area. But that's the mud that went on the north side and flooded everybody. That's our levee system keeping that flooding from going on the south side. This is looking back toward the roads, and that's a high-rise bridge over there. Again, that's just the mud that accumulated. And talk about some booty. I mean, it's stuff like really, I hated to think what those poor people had, having that smell in their house. This is the globally formed, that's their pump station. This is as high as the surge came up on that side. You can see it over here. We had a good 6-7 foot difference from the top. This is Superior Dock, and they don't look too superior as a dock right now. Okay, this is a few days after the storm. I mean, there was almost no opening at all. That's Superior Canal, completely full to the top of debris, and that's our Borough Canal that was dug to 12 to 14 feet. Completely full, and it's still full today. Now this is the erosion. This is near the Schwest Form, the east side, and that's a wave crashing right on the edge of the levee, and damage that side of the levee, and we had some erosion over here. Again, this is at the base, plastic sheet pile and rocks. We had a little bit of erosion here, but that really kept this area from eroding out and got some serious problems. And again, I'm having trouble making out which area this is, but it looks like it's back in the cove. This is again by the Schwest area. That was really crazy how the waves broke right on the ground, eroded the dirt, but it stacked the debris. It looked like someone had actually taken a tractor and stacked it on the top of the lake. I mean, that showed me some strange things. The wave broke, it deposited the debris on top, but it ate the edge, and we came back and I'll show some other pictures where we repaired it. This is at the lock. We had put dirt over here, all the way, had at least 5 feet of dirt headed facing south. We had goby mats on top of it, and the storm, the wave action took the goby mats off and eroded all the way to the steel. Now we built the levee a little bit higher, it ate up and it didn't get around it. And this is one of the effects that we saw for Katrina in the Blackman area and around the York area, wherever you had intersection of hard structure with the levee. So we did extra things, we made them, and it still got around it. We're going to make some repairs on here, but we're going to fortify those repairs even more. It costs us a little extra money, but we'll make sure that this doesn't happen. This is the debris on the outside, and this is on the east side, not too far from Golden, on the west side, I'm sorry, not too far from Golden, but again, you see the kind of debris came within about 4 feet of the top. Here's the Golden Meadow pump station. Now that water is here with wave action on top of that. And again, raising that, we just finished that about 2 years ago, raising that, and that's paid off. With this storm, everything we did paid off, big time. Again, the debris line that's on the west side. Dams that got pushed on the levee. Again, talking to people who did debris work for Katrina and Rita and all the other big storms, they said they never saw more debris on the levee than we saw on our levee. Estimated 1 million cubic yards. And first estimates for $25 cubic yard to get it out. And luckily, we found some ways to cut down the cost and burn so much more scrap on the bill to burn it and got the cost out to $9 million. Again, there's debris all over the levee. Another big camp, the bully camp. In fact, I think this is the debris on top of the pipe. And then we had that camp halfway up. The roof repairs on this camp we're doing while it was still on the levee. Took advantage of it. They actually dredged out this area on the side of our wall, get out to get the houseboat back, but he wasn't able to retrieve the houseboat. Again, some of the terraces that did not have vegetation were damaged some. The terraces that had vegetation survived it pretty well. And now the work, and again, I got to compliment all of our people and the contractors that work with us. So we have gotten almost all of the debris off the levee. This is an area where we had a gap where we had finished one project and started another at 16, and we just finished that and raised that little gap about 5 feet. That's right near Falls Swan. This is in the rolls. We just finished raising this levee to 14 feet, brand new levee, great shape. This, again, this is the, from Crawfish Canal to Delta Falls. We had been working on this project, just about finished, and got this in great shape. Here we go to Superior Dock. It's a little bit of a dock now, the material here, but the material in our parking lot is still there. It's starting to finally open up at Superior where you can get through it. And this is the levee that was damaged the most. We got in there and finished the job that was supposed to be done, got it up to 14 feet, and it looks great, but this is where we had the greatest amount of damage. We had overtopping on this levee, it was damaged some, but we just finished, that's the part between the Schwest boat over here and our pump station number 4, which is on Yankee Canal. And we have that in great shape and up to 18 feet. This is the repair. I showed you the edge of the levee and the crown that got eaten up. And what we had done years ago, we were raising this levee and we had some extra material, so we placed it on the berm to use to maintain the levee, and it came in handy for this storm. We didn't have to bring in dirt. We just dug the extra berm that we had and put it on top of the ground, made the repair. We did have some erosion around the loop pipeline wall, the T-wall that they have. It's been repaired, so we need to put, again, some Kobe mats on. We didn't have Kobe mats on this one. We're going to put Kobe mats here too because of that. And here's the repair at the lock itself. We raised it another 3-4 feet above the sheet pile. And here's the sheet pile going in. This is where we lost that material. We went all the way to sheet pile. So we've got a good thick layer here, but we're going to reinforce the Kobe mat that's placed in there and attach it stronger, more in a stronger fashion. Again, this is from the air. This is, we replace the dirt. We have more dirt than we had before. It's looking from the outside in. We replace it here and replace back over here, and again we're going to Kobe mat this whole area right here. Here's another view, and then there's the little T-wall. And again, we actually went a little bit farther out to encase it, and we're going to put some Kobe mats on there. It's a different view looking out. And here's the area, this is near the parking Golden Meadow. We had some dirt, but not a lot of dirt. Our ground was a little bit skinny, and we've gone back there and widened the ground between the corner and pump station number 1. And the job is pretty much finished, and it's in really good shape. Again, that's some work. This is behind our office building. There was a place when we did our simulated survey, it looked like it was about a couple of feet lower than the rest, so we had stacks of dirt there for, I think more than a year ago. But finally we've gotten back there and we've in the process, and that's our people with the excavator and the bulldozer doing the work here. And bringing it up. This is the completion of the work that we're doing just between pump station number 2 at Bully Camp and Falls Swan. That work is just about finished. We have that up to 16 feet. Again, this is the part behind the office. And our people shaping this and get our bulldozers to get it level where we can maintain it right. Kind of hard to see, but this section from here to here is new material. That was a hole punched in pump station number 1 on both sides. And again, we finally got all of our pump stations encased. We still have some doors that we need to get in to reseal it, but now we're keeping the weather out so we can get back in there and maintain it a little bit better than what it is right now. And this is it at Yankee Canal. The wind, 130 miles an hour, the wave action really eroded into the base of the and it's a little levee. So we went back with our machine and we added the material back, and this is where we want to put the rocks to ensure that this doesn't happen again, because that's not much of a levee compared to our regular district pump station before on Yankee Canal. We've added all of this eroded. We had sheet pile, but he got picked up, that's why we're looking to get a little bit stronger material, because this levee is so tight, we can't afford to let it eat its way through. And this is the discharge pipe at number 4, and this levee was battered and overtopped, and now it's in great shape. Again, I showed the flood wall, and here's the work on it, just being completed. And like I say, today we have the full force of that 18-foot of protection, and this little gap left, and I think it's probably already closed by now. But so we have the effects of it working. And the work is being done from Organza, that's attached to 11 year false form. This is L going out there, this is the mitigation area. Well, the mitigation area is probably 2 feet higher than it's supposed to be now because of debris. The storm kind of loaded it up. And this is the Terrebonne and North Lafourche doing the work and getting the debris from the inside and putting it out. They also had their levee on the levee that's on the east side, the west side headed toward Terrebonne. It was cut and made a hole about 20 feet deep. So they can't replace that levee, so they're making a divot and going around it, and found ground that they're building a new levee, but it's a curved levee getting around the, or it got excavated out. And that's what, now, when you leave, this is heading north, that east side is they're repairing. This is the beginning of section L that's going to attach to the water control structure on Grand Bayou. And it's sidebar, yeah, you see the contract out here. Sidebar, they're trying to set up a little bit of a base, and then the rest is going to be trucked in once this solidifies a little bit. And it's going to be basically, and Neil can talk about it a little bit more, but it's basically going to be a road to get to the other side. It's the beginning of the levee. It's a mobile. So the job for Terrebonne is going to be to make a mountain out of the mobile. Okay. This is the first lift. Okay, you see the contract out here. The one advantage we had when we started our levee, when we did this, I call soup on soup construction. You take more share and you throw it more. You stack it up enough, and you give it enough time, it consolidates. I know our levee, when we first did that, we had a really wide base of about 200 feet, and it was built at 13 feet. When we came to do the second lift, so 8 years later, the 13 feet was at about 8 feet. Yeah. But it was there, and once we put the next layer of dirt, it held up well. But that's the beginning of what this levee over here. And let's see, yeah, it's working in that same area. Yeah, that's some of the repair work on the levee was broken. Oh, the other thing, this is at the pump station. You know, we had the issue that water was going through the sheet pile wall and the water went out. I think the hurricane solved the problem. I believe there's enough material thrown in here that if any water starts to move through, it's going to seal the areas where the sheet pile is getting together. Now, I'm really interested to see the next high water comes if the problem's been solved. I think it hasn't been by the hurricane. At least one thing good happened out of this thing. This whole material is completely covering the rock that they have there, so it may have sealed the problem. And we can finally accept the job. All right, any questions on the slide? All right, first thing we need to do, because of the FEMA work that we're doing and FEMA doing the repair work, we had our audit said that we needed to have, and that was our only deficiency, we needed to have a federal funds policy. So, Mary got with people who know what that is. It's a 4-page policy, and it's 5-page policy. We didn't put it in here, but it just says that we're going to do what we normally do, which is basically we go through our process, we follow our guidelines, and we make sure that the board sees what money's spent, and then we have 2 or 3 people that look at it to make sure it's done right. So we ask that you adopt that policy. It's a 5-page policy Mary put together. I trust that she did it right with the expert. but we need to have your official signature.
Will we need auditors to look at this?
The auditors did. The auditors
Would
looked
that be
at
our
it.
auditors or would
It
you
was
spend?
our auditor who reviewed it and said it looked great.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of our general manager to approve and adopt the federal funds policy. Moved by Mr. Ronald, second by Mitch. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and we had a compliance questionnaire tied to our audit. Do this each time we have it and answer pretty much the same questions, and we just need to be able to make official approval of the answering of the questionnaire.
Okay. You've heard the recommendation of general manager to approve and adopt the audit and questionnaire. Moved by Mitch, second by Mac. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, membership in Restore Retreat, $500. We've been doing this for a number of years. They do a good job. We'd like to be able to continue the membership by approving the $500 membership fee.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of general manager to renew our membership in Restore Retreat for a total of $500. Moved by Roland Curl, second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Well, actually, we have to submit our budget, and so you have in there the amended budget. We've done just had our Mary and the Alden Wall have gone ahead and
All done.
got the budget done and for the end of this year. So we ask for acceptance of that amended budget.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of general manager to accept our 2022 amended budget. Moved by Mitch, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Of course, the biggest change in the amendment was all the costs that we've had to do with the hurricane and the damage that happened. Repairs on the Yankee Canal levee, I showed you the deed. We have a plan to put rocks where they had the damage. We need to look at whether we can declare an emergency or not, so we'd like for y'all to approve the president, do what it takes for us to do that project, according to what our attorney advises us on which method to move forward.
Okay.
How many linear feet of riprap are you looking at?
It's the segment from the roof pipeline all the way to almost the pump station, so I don't have the exact number. It's several thousand feet. I think it's about 13,000.
It would be feasible maybe to look at doing the whole section?
Well,
Way up in front?
the segment going to by Lafourche is not nearly as bad because there's a lot of land, a lot of less open water on that corridor. So at this time, I looked at it, I don't think we need to do anything significant for that area.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our general manager to allow me to sign and pursue the repairs to the Yankee Canal levee. A motion by Mr. Ronald, second by Roland Curl. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, update on the repairs to the office building, mechanic shop. Again, because of the bids, they came in a lot higher than what our insurance can pay. I think we need to reject the bids for the office building. Mechanic shop, we could approve the repairs, and then our guys, we changed mechanic shop to not do the interior office to save money, but our guys can do that some work themselves and make it useful. So we will move forward with the mechanic shop, and we'll wait on the office building to let the cost come down a little bit, and also by doing that, we probably can get some help from FEMA with that excess cost on the repairs. We'd like you to approve that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the general manager. Moved by Roland Curl, second by Brian Martin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The D-South gap at the Crawfish Pond pump station wall. I showed you the pictures. Well, between the sheet pile and the levee's 18, the sheet pile is at 18. But there's a concrete matting that the Corps had put that is about 3 feet lower. Now, we looked at structurally doing something there, the bids kind of came in high. We think temporarily that we should go in and put a couple of rolls of Nesco baskets. And I think that's what we're gonna do and continue looking at maybe a less expensive way of closing that gap in there. But I just wanted to, unless y'all have any objections, we'll go ahead and install Nesco baskets there. And we're, yeah, well, right now, and then once we can find a cost-effective way of closing that gap.
Wait a minute, we use up all the dirt that came from where SBL was working. We used up all that dirt.
Yeah, and the job came out great, yeah.
Is there a possibility of harvesting some more dirt
Oh, yeah.
there and haul it to that spot?
Yeah, but
It's not that far away, right?
No, that's right, it's right there. The issue is that you have the sheet pile here, we got the levee here, but it's concrete over here. If we're gonna do an earthen levee, we're gonna have to take off the concrete. What we're hoping to do is maybe find a way that we can, not have to take all the concrete out, maybe drop some sheet pile, find a way to do it in a less expensive way than we got to do it right now. We're just trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. That's one of the things we'll look at. We'll look at doing that. We'll look at maybe putting some small sheet pile in. But it's just to get a better price than what we have right now.
You need approval?
No, I'm just gonna, unless you have an objection, we're just gonna move forward. Let's go past it, it costs too much. We'd like to get approval to buy a couple of lawnmowers. We have one lawnmower that's in really bad shape, the other one is about to get in bad shape. So if we can do that, we've hired a couple of guys and we think we can do that. This is the grass along where the pump stations are at and the other areas that our big tractors can go. And we think we can do it cheaper than contracting out. So we'd like to be able to approve the purchase of 2 lawnmowers.
And how much that is?
It's about $12,000 apiece.
And that's what you said, state contract. And,
Well, we compared
local-
state contract, and it looks like state contract, and our local distributor is real close. And with the idea that our local guy is right there to repair,
Right.
that it's close enough that we're intending to give it to the local
It's 13,000.
contractor.
And we do that without bidding.
Yeah.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our general manager to purchase a couple of lawnmowers. Motion?
And also to either put a
Trade
bid
in
out,
or sell.
to bid out or trade in,
Yeah,
to
okay.
add that to it.
All right, you've heard the recommendation. Moved by Max, second by Mitch. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, that's all I have for you.
All right. Engineering report, CPRA, Daniel, you have anything?
Not a whole lot, but I did want to give a couple of updates on some status on some of these projects, Gomez projects, South Food Gas. Some of these are, I think, going to be reported on by the project consultants in a minute, but D North Ramp, I know I have here that you guys are working on options to rebid that, and I think we have an update on that. Section F berm. A lot of these are waiting on, or similar, just waiting on this one, we're waiting on the revised plans and specs to review, as well as I have here the GIW flood wall impact protection project that just E&D is waiting to review the plans and specs whenever they get it. And then I have section E North. I have the it's pending land rights in the fall, hopefully, and then from there we'll go with the plans and specs also. That's about it. I did have a same update with the Crawfish Farm flood wall phase 2. That it's, I mean, I have it in my notes, it's nearing completion, so that's good. Oh, I can confirm too, you had the graphics up of the marsh loss up there in northwest Little Lake area, north of Clovey, kind of southeast of Delta Farm. We are, CPR is actively working on that project right now. It's to reestablish basically a marsh rim along that northwest shoreline.
It's called the Northwest Little Lake Restoration or something.
I think it is increment 2, I think, yeah. Northwest Little Lake increment 2, I think that's the actual title. But doing it with some emergency funding that we received, and yeah, it's probably not going to be, I'm guessing here, but based on budgets and all, it's not going to be large, probably 400 acres. I mean, to us, like, if it's less than 1,000 acres, it's not very large. But 300 or 400 acres is probably going to focus along the shoreline, and then maybe some armoring, but we're gonna try to, work with land rights right now, but yeah, so that's underway. That's all I have.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned is that, I was looking at this is federal money that came in. But, after Katrina, they took care of the 5 parishes around New Orleans. And the 2 authorized federal projects that were left out were New Orleans, Savannah, and also Golden Meadow. Okay? Well, they just came out with a whole bunch of money to help out a lot of local projects. For example, the floodgate issues with Morganza, they're going to get $378 million. We're happy for that. That floodgate is going to help on each side, give some benefit. But that's great that they're going to get that. But New Orleans Savannah is getting $783 million, which is great. And look, to me, Blackwood Parish is the biggest offender of us. And with the counterclockwise rotation, it plays a major part in limiting us not being exposed to the entire Gulf of Mexico. But we were, not listed at all, 0. Okay? Then you had West Shore. Now these people need it. They've been in West Shore. That's the Lafourche area. They got nothing when the wind blows. I believe $450 million. The Chapalaya Basin, which has been filling in, they really need some help out there for a lot of them. Flood protection and navigation, $162 million. And then the Comey diversion, which is near Baton Rouge, they've been needing that for years, $125 million. All good. But we could use $48 million just to get back to the standards that the Corps talks about, And again, completely left out of the discussion. And I did talk to Gary Graves last week about that. And he was, I could tell he was a little concerned that we didn't get any help. We're kind of like Ukraine. We're in the battle, but we need some help. So if the United States government can help Ukraine, they can help us a little bit too. But that's the only thing that's a little bit disappointing. What's not disappointing though is that we didn't flood.
Right.
Nobody died. It's a good year, but just because again, in business, if you're looking good, you get money and attention. If you're in government and you're looking good, you're getting gold. So we're going to try to make a little more noise and maybe get a little.
All you get is an attaboy.
Was that?
All you get is an attaboy.
Wendell, the amount that was given to the New Orleans to Venice project, was that more than what the Corps was expecting for that project?
No, I'm just guessing that I really, it kind of surprised me. Again, I remember that's when Billy Nunn was the president of when Katrina hit. And the two of us are sitting there with the governor. And he says, well, look, we're not going to help y'all 2 systems. That's the 2 authorized systems from 1965 that didn't get help after Katrina. So here we have this storm, Ida, and if New Orleans Savannah gets help, and you look at the population that's being protected is probably less than our population. That's our Lafourche. Sure. And look, it's important. And again, I'm not saying anything against anything they're doing. I'm just saying a little bit of help in our direction would have been all that we need. And maybe next time, just want to make everybody aware of that we try to get a little bit more federal help. But we are working with them and in trying to get back into the system. And maybe that's part of the issue that why we didn't have it. But we're hoping to get a little more money, take a little bit of pressure off of our taxpayers and get our systems in a little bit better shape and afford a little bit better protection. We are getting $5 million through CPRA toward the lock. Okay. Now, we're going to see how that plays out. That with our $5 million from the parish that they put from the Gold Mesa money, and $5 million from CPRA, that makes $15 million. There's a chance that not be enough that we'll move forward with that and see if we can get going. And Joe can talk a little bit about it. He gets it.
Actually, that was one of the things that I was going to bring up was in addition to the $5 million from CPRA not having been in capital outlay, but knowing that we were going to get it from there. The other one was I had asked for y'all insurance claim amounts and the 10% FEMA match. And we did put aside $33 million in, I think it's now called Act 167, signed by the governor. And it's there, and in the last days of the session, I had meetings with John Schroeder, because he's gonna be, it's not gonna be, tell us how much your 10% FEMA, the 10% that FEMA doesn't cover, and we'll give it to you. It's gonna be a process where you fill out a form, and they're gonna get all the forms from all the political subdivisions that are asking for their 10% and their insurance deductible makeups, and they're gonna try to stretch the 33 million over as many entities as possible. For a little while, they were worried about parishes from the North Shore putting in claims, and in the very last day of session, we kind of throttled that back to be Terrebonne, Lafourche, St. Charles, and Lower Jefferson. We made it had to be outside the system. Jean Lafitte and Grand Isle only that would be the extent of where this 33 million would be spent. And I remember the date of August. I want to say it's the August Bond Commission. By the time of the August Bond Commission meeting, John Schroeder with the computer gurus that set up like the water sector forms and stuff like that for the recent federal grant money, that they're going to set up a claim form for political subdivisions like South Lafourche Levee District, Lady of the Sea Hospital, and all these to go in and put their money in. The closing shot on that meeting was, well, how do you recommend we take this 33 million and get it so that everybody can be spread as much as possible? And we had the South Lafourche Fire District right here, number 3, that's only asking for like 165 to get their 10% match in their insurance deductible. And I came up with the suggestion of the smaller the ask, the higher the percentage of that ask they should get. The larger the ask, I think Greater Lafourche Port Commission probably has one of the largest requests. And if it's a huge amount and it would tap out the 33 million quick, then they might only get 10 or 15% of what they're asking for on that side. But that we would work on a formula to make that 33 million stretch for those 4 parishes, political subdivisions in there as wide as possible. So that was the other update I wanted to give on the finances coming out of this.
I'm glad you mentioned the fire commission. Okay. They need help.
There's probably like 12 out of like 12 political subdivisions in my district on the list. And Brian Fontenot said, don't worry about the Lafourche Parish Sheriff, don't worry about the school board. He'll handle those and the North Lafourche ones. So I'm just handling Central, South Lafourche, and Grand Isle, pretty much.
Thank you. All right, thanks. Anybody from the Corps here? Okay, project engineers, Fiscal and Associates.
Yes, on section F, levee improvements, onshore materials is a contractor, they complete with the project, and we are in the lien period. There is no pay application on that project for this month. On the La Rose Block project, we completed our calculations and our design on the reverse condition of the structure. We're going to submit that this week. They also wanted some updates to the operations manual. We're going to submit that also, so we'll have that in this week. On D-South levee improvements, this is extracting borrow from the 40-yard canal and placing it on the berm between Pump Station 4 and the Crawfish Pond wall. Our limit contract is the contractor. There's still got a couple of days of hauling left to do and some grading and shaping. We do have the application number 10 in the amount of $39,900 even. We do recommend you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay outer limits. Pay request number 10 in the amount of $39,900. Moved by Mitch, seconded by Matt. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
On Hurricane Ida storm damage repairs to the pump station and the floodgates, Grand Isle Shipyard is a contractor. They are complete with all the sheet metal and roofing work on the pump stations. They're currently working on purchasing electrical equipment and replacing that on the various pump stations throughout the project. There's still no pay application this month.
So I understand they have a tough time getting equipment. project?
They are, and we've been kind of working with them through that, trying to get some alternates to what we spec'd out so they can get it quicker. But they're still lagging behind, and that's what it's purchasing the electric equipment. Hurricane Ida storm damage to the main office and the mechanic shop. So in the mechanic shop, Frisco Industrial Contractors is the contractor. We gave him a notice to proceed on May 31st. He's on site kind of doing some demolition, and he's purchased some materials. They expect, they're actually fabricating the components of the metal building that they have to replace now. And they are going to start work on that in the next couple of weeks. We don't have any pay application on this project. As on the main office, we accepted bids on April 27th. Granite Shipyard was a little bidder in the amount of $449,525.67. That bid is a lot higher than we expected it to be. Last meeting, we deferred our decision to award the project or not. I think now you have to make a decision to award it.
Yeah.
Well, Windows recommending to reject. it.
Well, we did, we voted to reject.
Voted to reject it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Rejecting the bids. The repairs to the Ontario flood wall and loop flood wall, outer limits contractor spread the dirt. Showed you some pictures in the slide, showed how it looks well. The levee's up to like an 18 now in that location. We've completed our design plans to put the scour protection mats. And we actually are starting to advertise for bids today. We accept bids on July 11th. We do have a pay application number 2 for outer limit. It's in the amount of $20,186 even, and we do recommend you pay that.
Okay, gentlemen, we've heard the recommendation of our engineer to pay request number 2 to outer limits in the amount of $20,186. Moved by Roland Guidry, second by Brian. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Joe,
Sure.
you might, what was the estimate on doing the riprap, going that work?
It was right at $250,000.
Okay, we'll need the board to approve that and talk for it. So let's do that. If that's all right, Keith.
For what now?
That's, okay, the work along the T-wall and loop and the floodgate, you're gonna put the Toby mats on it. And that cost is gonna be, how much was
Around
it?
$250,000.
About 250,000, so we need the board to approve the advertisement. Or if the attorney says we can do it quicker, we'll do that. We need the board to give you the right to move forward on that.
Our recommendation was to go out for public bid because the limit is $250,000 and our estimate was $250,000.
Yeah, well, we'll talk to the attorney about the declare an emergency and see if we can move any quick. We'll wait till after.
That's be on the agenda?
For that,
That's be on the agenda?
yes. That's the Ontario.
It's on the agenda
Okay.
to approve the advertisement for bids.
Yeah.
Why don't we just do that, and then if the attorney decides otherwise.
Yeah. But I mean, we just need the board to pass the book.
We've heard the recommendation of our general manager and our engineer to move forward with this. Need a motion by Mac, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Good job.
Yes, sir.
One other thing, we were working with the court to try to get back into their rehabilitation program. And because we've done so much work since the storm, and they're looking at getting maybe the best data to that we do another satellite survey. Usually we wait till the spring to do it, but because we've improved the work and this can get an updated satellite survey, we're going to move forward. And the estimated cost of that, Joe, is about,
$2,000.
okay,
It's a couple of days. to do.
yeah. So just want to let y'all know we move forward with that and approve that work. Move forward.
GIS engineering, John.
John Blazon's the GIS engineering. We have several projects that we're on the board today. First, the 80s Bayou Water Retention Project. We're still coordinating with pipeline companies and utility companies to satisfy their requirements. Right now, Chevron and Entergy are our big focuses. We've also got servitude that we provided to the attorney to get those drawn up. Plan specifications are ready whenever we can get all the various paperwork. These south flood wall improvements, as we mentioned before, phase 1 is complete. Hurricane Ida efforts are complete, but in case anything else comes up, we'll continue to provide information and coordinate with all south as needed. Phase 2, that project should be complete in the next few days or weeks, at least substantially completion. All the sheet piles are in, just some welding that needs to be done on that project and prepare the coatings on it. We have number 4 for that project, which is for sea level in the amount of $382,375, has been approved and needs to be approved by.
Okay. You've heard the recommendation of our engineers to pay request number 4 to sea level in the amount of $382,375. Mr. Ronald, second by Mr. Kuro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And phase 2A is what Wendell was mentioning earlier, that tie-in between the new wall and the levees on the side. The levee district is going to put ESCO baskets. Mr. Ronald, we did look at putting dirt, but Wendell said we have to take out that concrete to do that, and we'd have to put that concrete back. That's the big part, we'd have to put that concrete back. D-North ramp, we took bids on that last year. They rejected because they were too high. The levee district did a considerable amount of work to try to lower that cost. We took bids again this spring and they actually went up. So the board at their last meeting rejected that as well. We're working on a package that will lower that cost, hopefully, and that we expect to have done by the end of this month. So next month we'll probably come to y'all and ask to start advertising. The Grand Bayou Flood Control Project, the flood wall receiving structure is complete. The barge gate is operational, but there are several punch list items that still need to be done. The as-built and operations and maintenance manual in particular. There's some floodlight fixtures and stuff like that that also needs to be done. We expect all of that to be done in the next couple of weeks. So again, next month, hopefully we'll be back to y'all for final approval. And again, Hurricane Delta and Zeta and Hurricane Ida, any other complaints that y'all have, with y'all FEMA claims, we'll be working with all south on that. Reconnection of Yankee Canal by Lafourche, that as well we expect to be finished with the plans by y'all meeting for next month so we can start advertising on that project. And the Lafourche Lane sinkhole repairs, the repairs are done, just needs to be cleaned up, dressed up. There's some concrete work we want to put a ring around the top so that it can be easily maintained. But once SPL finishes that, we are withholding some funds for that project.
That's it? Thank you, John. All right, we'll move on, Angela, you can see over here.
Okay, on the Seaside levee improvements, this is from the Mason Pump Station going north to the Apache Formula. That contract was Grand Isle Shipyard. They are continuing with the earthwork to raise that levee up to plus 18. We think they'll be done with that work, including the additional work that the board had previously approved in the next 3 to 4 months. There's no payout this month for that project. On the Yankee Canal, erosion repairs, I think Wendell covered that, so if the board has any questions on that right now, we can discuss. If not, I'll move on to the next item. Okay, on D-South, Hurricane Ida repairs, that work is complete. Coco and Sons has an invoice for $23,085 that we recommend payment on.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation from engineer to pay Coco and Sons invoice 1064 in the amount of $23,085. Motion. Motion by Mac, second by Mitch. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
On the Sea-South project, Wendell had some good photographs of that he showed earlier. This is some repair work being done by Copeland and Sons. We recommend payment in the amount of $25,650.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay Coco and Sons invoice 1063 in the amount of $25,615. Moved by Mr. Ronald, second by Roman Curo. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And also on section B South, this is similar work south of the Basalt Pump Station. Again, we have a recommendation for payment to Copeland and Sons for $52,335.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay Coco and Sons invoice 1065 in the amount of $52,335. Moved by Roman Gidry, second by Brian. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Delta codes, everybody here. Codes, all sounds, we do here. Okay, moving on to committees. Yeah. Legal permit right away.
I'd like to suggest something, I think it's the time to do it now. Can we add something to the agenda at this point with 100% approval, even though the agenda is started already? I'd like to add to the agenda with approval of everyone that the executive committee report be added as a permanent report on the agenda. So we go in there and report exactly what we've had about, because we'll meet once a month and we always have a lot of things to report. So I'd like to add that to it, I'd like to, that's what we'll get to it.
Okay. We've heard the recommendation of our chairman of the executive.
2 votes. 1 to add it, 1 to approve it.
Okay.
And that's voice votes or?
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, roll call vote to add and a regular vote.
Heard the recommendation of our chairman of the executive committee, and you heard our recommendation of our attorney. So we'll move on to the first one to add it to the agenda.
Keith Guidry,
Yes.
Ron Collins,
Yes.
Roland Curo,
Yes.
Mitch Daniels,
Yes.
Roland Guidry,
Yeah.
Ron Martz,
Yes.
McNeely Rowe,
Yes.
Monty Brenner, unanimous.
Now we move on to available. Okay. So that's a roll call or?
No.
Okay. Recommendation to accept.
Not on the agenda, you just see that one.
Okay. Need a motion by Mitch, and a second by Mac. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, we'll have the report now.
Yes.
Committee reviewed and accepted the status of the latest financial report, showed exactly where our funds were being spent and all that. Second item was the bridge in Golden Meadows, crossing the Golden Meadow drainage canal. And there's a problem there because the insurance company is willing to pay, but they want someone to acknowledge ownership of it. And actually, as far as we can see, the town of Golden Meadow owns it. But they kind of hesitant about putting their name on something from later on. So we're trying to work out the deal that somebody takes ownership of it and the insurance company will pay for it. The damage was done by the bereaved contractors rolling over the damage.
Does Ryan have anything more to report on that? No? Okay.
Ongoing.
Okay.
We're not making any comment right now.
All right.
We're trying to resolve it.
No.
Third item was that we paid the debris-related work with Cayman and the reimbursement about FEMA and the bank loan, and that is coming along pretty good. We also discussed employee wages. We're running into a problem now that the industry is paying more than we pay, and it's hard to get employees, and right now just such a shortage of employees to start off with, and if we have to start competing with wage, we don't have a problem. In fact, we've been having a problem for the last few months. So we're working a plan that can be done at this point. Also, like everything else, people get older. And we have to look at the future of this organization. We've had tremendous management of it by Wendell over the years, but Wendell, like everybody else, is starting to get older again. And we start to look, you can replace it. You're not running them off.
I haven't looked at the mirror lately.
Well, you better check your
Yeah,
mirror.
you better hurry.
You must have.
Assemble that a little longer.
So we'll look at that and probably we'll take applications for replacement of window in the, not near, but the not distant future. We're looking at that. And we've already discussed the update on the mechanic shop in the main office building. And that's all I have to report on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ron. Board attorney.
No, Mr. President.
See, Steve is back.
Another-
It's like I never left. I don't have a report.
All right. Finance committee, Monty,
I got permits.
oh, yeah.
I got 2 permits, this month, White Marlin Operating Company LLC and Hunt Telecom. After reviewing these 2, looking the board to approve these 2 permits.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of our chairman of the permits committee. The motion by Roland Kirol, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, finance committee, Monty's not here. We just, we went over them and recommend that we accept all invoices and payment that's moved by Mr. Ronald, second by Mac. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The insurance committee, personnel committee again by Monty, not here. We went over a few things as opposed to increase allowance for employee uniforms, and the committee recommends that we accept that. So moved by Mitch, second by Mr. Ronald, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Insurance committee, that was.
We're still waiting on
We're ready.
bids for the insurance company, quotes for the insurance companies. So I haven't been
We're
told.
still waiting on quotes on that. Okay, any old business? Any old business? Any new business?
Oh, one thing I want to mention, the progress on the levee, you know, that was the big thing right in September. It was scary. We had so much damage and so much levee covered by debris stuff. Gotta thank everybody, employees, our engineers, our contractors. We've got the levee, and 99% is better than it was before the storm hit last year, which is a tremendous accomplishment in this amount of time. And we were very lucky that the rain stayed away. You know, we talk about this drought. The drought was very helpful for us in getting the dirt that we've been moving. 3 years previous, we've been getting rain almost seems like every 3 days and really slowing us down with our work. But the levee's back in shape. It's actually in 99% of the places, it's better than it was before Ida hit. So that's a good situation to be in. And I wasn't sure we were going to be there in this position back in September. So it was a lot of good work by a lot of people.
Yesterday when that, was it yesterday the weather came through? The day before, when that weather came through, we have pumps.
Everything was ready to go.
Because man, that rain came down hard and we had water and it went out.
Well, but also, you know, that's not a drought.
That's
The
how
first
much
2
it
inches of
dropped,
drought
yeah.
season, you know.
And
But I was
thinking
thinking,
the rain, my house grew hard, got just like rain.
well, yeah, I talked to Drake had said, you got 4 inches?
It's 4 inches and my house is cut off. We
Yeah.
pumped at pump station 7, 2 and 6, and 4 over there in Yankee Canal, we didn't even turn them on. Not enough rain to turn them on.
But the important point is after the storm, when the storm hit on the Sunday, Monday, by Thursday, we had all of our pumps working and our floodgates were working. They weren't working. The pump station, you had to get generated, you had to do extra work to make it work. But we were actually, could move all the material and water and hold back the water, by Thursday after the storm. So that's also a compliment to the workers that we had to get back in shape. But we're in really good shape, things are working like it's supposed to right now. Right, we got we just waiting for a spare generator and we get that, we got everything done.
No, we got the generators in place.
Yeah, so I'm saying that we're
Yeah,
waiting for a spare
yeah.
generator.
In case we
We
lose one,
have that,
we have one.
we're better than we were.
We'll have to
before
go
the
rent
storm.
one again when we have one.
Any new business? Okay, no need for executive session, entertain a motion. Move Mr. Ronald, second by Roland Guidry, and we adjourn, all in favor? Motion carried.